Thank you for joining me for the 12th edition of VGR Lockdown. I got a surprise for you all this week.
I'm back! It's your boy Double A Ron. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 12th edition of VGR Lockdown.
All right, so I know we haven't been around for a while, but this week we're going to be getting into the recent superstar shakeup, giving you our thoughts on who moved, which between the brands, what feuds we like to see, whose position on the card is in jeopardy based on being moved or not being moved. So, just a quick recap. We're going to start with Raw. And the Raw moves that took place during the Superstar Shakeup, you had Jinder Mahal, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Natalya, Baron Corbin, Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, the Riot Squad, which is Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, and Liv Morgan, Mojo Rawley, Zack Ryder, Breezango, which is Tyler Breeze and Fandango, The Ascension, Connor and Victor, Mike Kanellis, and then you also had, outside of the shakeup, you had some debuts on the Raw after WrestleMania, and that was Bobby Lashley, The Authors of Pain, No Way Jose, and Ember Moon. So it was a lot of moves in that. But what you think about who got moved to Raw?
Well, I'll put it like this. I think that they looked out for SmackDown a lot better this year than they did last year. Last year, that shakeup, it was designed, in my opinion, designed to make Raw a stacked show and make SmackDown plummet. That's how it was designed last year, in my opinion. But
so you know what? As you say that, you know what? Go ahead, run through real quick who all got moved to SmackDown.
SmackDown, okay, let's go. My main man, the awesome one, the great one, The Miz, Samoa Joe, Asuka, Jeff Hardy, The Bar, Andrade Almas, Sonya Deville, and
don't
Mandy
forget
Rose.
about Zelina Vega, his manager.
Oh, okay. Sanity, Eric Young, Allender Wolf, Killing Dane, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, Big Cass, Sin Cara, R-Truth, and the Iconics.
And Billy Kay and Peyton Royce. Don't forget their names.
The two Australian chicks that beat the hell out of Charlotte. Is that fine? Is that good enough for you, Steven?
Yes,
okay,
yes, it
fine.
is. Okay, so you know what? We're going to start. What do you think about Raw?
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you this. Do you want to start with the jobbers or do you want to go in the order?
You know what? Let's start with the relevant people first.
Relevant people. Okay, so since he's the first on the list, let's talk about Jinder Mahal. I think me and you have different opinions about Jinder Mahal. You think that he's going to be a future Iron Sheik, and I just don't think that he's made like that.
I never said no future Iron Sheik. I'm just saying, his run as a main eventer shouldn't be stalled based on the uninspired feuds that he had on SmackDown. Because you know what? He was champion for a few months, and a lot of people deem his championship run a failure.
It was.
But he had no good feuds. And look at the people. Randy Orton. Every feud that Randy Orton has been in for the last couple years have all been boring.
Yeah.
And that got dragged on longer than it needed to be.
It did.
Then you had Mahal go up against Nakamura,
who's had pretty much at least a decent feud with everybody else that he fought outside of Jinder Mahal.
Not really. Nakamura's feuds have not been interesting since he's been on the main roster until he recently turned heel. Up until then, they've been hearing touch and go. But with Nakamura, the issue was Jinder Mahal's whole thing was that he was, he was an Indian. He wasn't American and everything else. So all of his ranting and raving had been built upon that. And he had the Foreign Hill gimmick.
Okay.
The Foreign Hill gimmick isn't going to work against a Foreign Hill as well. So Nakamura doesn't speak English all that well. and so they had nothing to battle back and forth. That's why of all of his feuds, that was the only one that lasted 1 month.
Well, I'll tell you this. I complain about not having enough good heels. He's a real heel because I really don't think that people like him. Like they don't think he's talented. Like I don't think. Maybe it's some hardcore fans because I know he's about to get into this feud with Roman Reigns. I think that that's the only person that might get Roman Reigns cheered right now. In my opinion, he might be the only one in the company that if he attacks Roman Reigns, he might get booed. I mean, I used to think that was the Miz, but they'll probably cheer the Miz now.
They did cheer the Miz.
Yeah, when he beat him.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jinder Mahal, he's actually a real heel now. But should he be in the main event? I don't think so. But maybe he could build himself back up. That's my opinion. Putting him in a feud with Roman Reigns, it should be good for both of them. I don't know if they'll have a good match, but we'll see.
So outside of Roman Reigns on Raw, who would you like Mahal to feud with?
I really wouldn't care, to be honest with you. Really wouldn't care. You could try Seth Rollins. I hope he doesn't beat Seth Rollins. I wouldn't want him to fight Braun Strowman because I would just wanted him to annihilate Jinder Mahal. I wouldn't want him to fight Bobby Lashley because I thought that feud would be incredibly boring. If maybe Kevin Owens turned face, maybe, but like I said, I wouldn't care.
So yeah, for me, I would say I'm kind of looking forward to Jinder Mahal feuding against the Shield. Not as a cohesive unit, the Shield, but we haven't seen Jinder Mahal versus Roman, Jinder Mahal versus Seth, or whenever Dean Ambrose returns from injury.
I agree. I didn't mention Dean Ambrose because he's hurt and I don't know when he's coming back. But yes, I'll be cool with that. I don't think it would be good. I think that one would be the most boring one.
Which one?
Dean Ambrose versus Jinder.
Really?
I'm the least interested in that, but I would be interested in that one over everybody else outside of the Shield.
And see, I will look for more so for Dean Ambrose versus Mahal because out of all three Shield members, I could believe Mahal beating Ambrose.
I couldn't. I just wouldn't want to see that.
I could. I mean, Ambrose has that. What is it? I guess he's more of that reckless style.
I'm hoping that when Ambrose comes back, he gets a big push.
I was hoping that they were going to send him back to SmackDown, but they clearly didn't. You know what? Let's move on. So you had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn moving over.
Okay.
Big addition to Raw. Now, despite the fact I know you said it was kind of off balance this year where they stacked up SmackDown, which is probably a good thing. I'm actually worried about Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. Based on the current Raw roster, I feel like they're going to get regulated to a tag team.
They could, which isn't really a bad spot for them. But honestly, I think Kevin Owens on his own could be okay. I'm kind of concerned about what Sami Zayn would do on his own.
I don't think they're going to split them up. I think they tried that experiment, and Sami Zayn kind of on his own.
I don't think that's a bad thing, though, Steven. I mean, it could be a lot worse. I mean, think about it. People were talking. It was rumors that they was going to be in the Andre Battle Memorial. Okay, so honestly, I don't think that's a bad move for them.
It's a terrible move. I mean, think about it. On SmackDown, they were the two top heels on the show.
They were,
and they went from the two top heels on the show to, and it's still technically not clearly defined who the top heel is on Raw, but I don't see them remaining at that top spot.
I would say they're one of the top heels. What heels would you put over them? Is Elias, who's picking up steam. I would put them over Jinder Mahal, but he is in a higher spot than them right now because of who he's feuding with.
Well, right now, Raw has and as far as the heels go, you got Brock Lesnar.
He's a neutral.
And then you got this big, huge gap. And then you got some heels there. But I feel like a lot of the heels right now on Raw are not at the equivalent level
as the faces. I agree.
Because it's like of the heels that they have left, and merely speaking of who you can believably see them beating. Roman Reigns one-on-one right now with their current booking, I don't see Elias doing it.
No,
Um,
they haven't booked him too bad though.
I feel like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they're going to shift them even further down. Now, if this was SmackDown, then yeah, I could see them pulling that off. But Raw, I don't see it. Baron Corbin, doubtful. Dolph Ziggler, doubtful. So you have that whole, there's that gap.
You think they're going to form a plan to make Drew McIntyre a main eventer?
I don't think so. Not now, at least.
Okay.
I mean, since the shakeup has happened, Dolph and Drew haven't really been around, and I haven't been watching the full 3 hour of Raws, but catching clips and everything else. I haven't seen a whole lot of Dolph and Drew, and I think right now the issue with this shakeup, they always move more people to Raw than they do SmackDown, and despite the fact that the show is 3 hours long, they don't balance it out well, and you haven't seen a whole lot of Drew or Dolph, and I think part of that is that with this shakeup, they eliminated the tag team division on Raw.
They did, but Drew and Dolph have been doing a lot. Like, from what I see, they've been doing a lot.
I haven't seen them.
You haven't seen them?
I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
So they, in my mind, they have no footprint outside of when they first debuted.
I'm excited for what they're going to do. I think that they're going to do well depending on how they book them. They've been winning all their matches. They've been cutting good promos. They work well together. And that move that they do together is pretty cool. So, I don't know. I'm excited to see what the future holds for them. And like you said, they wiped out all the tag teams. So if Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn stay a tag team, that might be beneficial. Unless you thought that Kevin Owens is going to be like this mega superstar heel, but he hasn't been booked like that for a long time.
Yeah, he has. He was being booked as the top heel on SmackDown. He was the top heel on SmackDown. But it's a step back for them. And typically, once they start sticking you in tag teams, it's been a wrap for a while.
That's bullshit, bro.
Outside of the Shield, think about it. Sheamus, former WWE champion. He was champion within, I think, the last 2 years or so.
He was a paper champion. He was stuck in stuff, and he did not deliver. That's much different. Think about Randy Orton and Edge. Think about Triple H and Stone Cold.
But those two teams, as you say, they were teams that were considered power trips. They were considered main event
Chris
tag
Jericho
teams.
and Big Show.
Main event tag teams. With Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, you stick them in a tag team, there are no main event tag teams. So, as you say that, this is who they're going to be fighting as a tag team. Breezango. The Fashion Police.
You gonna squash him?
No, the Ascension. That's just it. There are no real tag teams. For them to remain a tag team right now in the current tag team division, they're going to be taking a huge step down to make the division credible. Because I'm sorry, but the Fashion Police aren't on their level. The Ascension aren't on their level.
Brother Nero is.
Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. I like them as a tag team. I do. They have a weird gimmick. So you're going to have to suspend some disbelief in them. So for me, for a guy that was, WWE champion, that was a good WWE champion at that, Universal champion, and was a main event, I feel like that's a big slide down the card.
Could be.
Now, and because the other thing is, you got Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. I'm expecting them to be in the tag team division as well. And Dolph Ziggler hasn't been that high up on the card for a very, very long time. And Drew McIntyre, sure, yeah, he has the size and everything else. But as of right now, both of those teams would be heels anyway. So it's less likely that they're going to fight. So you got to look at the faces that they're going to be fighting, which are Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, which, okay, they're credible. But everyone else, no.
How about Titus World Slide?
No.
No?
No.
You're not feeling him?
Unfortunately, the worst thing, that fall that took place at the greatest Royal Rumble was probably the absolute worst thing that possibly could have happened to Titus O'Neil. I mean, because it was hilarious. The announcers there couldn't stop laughing, and then of course they had to replay it about 15 times
Yeah.
before they moved on.
Now,
But
now they made it his gimmick.
yeah, they made it his gimmick, and that's not good.
No.
Because I mean, I was starting to take them a little bit serious, and now that's going to get pushed to the wayside.
Well, let's talk about the ladies real quick. What you think about Natalia?
I don't know. Natalia's time has passed, and I don't mean skill wise. I think they have her in a great role
Hmm.
in the sense of, I mean, the last couple of years she's been playing that mother hen role. And her moving over to Raw, I don't have an issue with. They have a lot of green women over on Raw. You still have the Riot Squad, which is Ruby Riot, Sarah Logan, and Liv Morgan over there. They're still green. They're still coming up. You got Ronda Rousey, who just debuted and hasn't had a match since the Royal Rumble. Um, so they're green, and being over there with having Natalia over there, she has a amazing and rich wrestling background. Um, and they can all learn from her.
Well, in my opinion, Natalia is one of the most under underrated and underutilized women that they had. Now, did they put the title on her? Yes, they did. Did they show her respect behind the scenes? I think they did. But some of the she could have been like the top babyface or the top women's wrestler for years before she was. But instead, they stopped her with that stupid farting gimmick. She was just doing stupid things. She was losing. I mean, they could have treated her a lot better over the years, where she could have been a more established now to help these younger
Well,
girls.
the issue with Natalia is that she debuted at the wrong time. She debuted in a whole different era of women's wrestling in the company. And if everyone that Natalia first started working with, as you can tell, they're gone.
Yeah.
And she's the last one. She's the relic of that time. Um, but I feel like, now they still keep her credible, but I think her role is more so to help groom the new generation of women.
I think a good example is someone who I think they did good by, and even though it seems like no one cares about her, but she is a female legend, is Mickey James.
But she left the company
She did.
for a long, long time.
She did.
So in the eyes of the fans, Mickey James is still fresh. She's not fully tainted from recent memory.
I think people care about Natalia more than they care about Mickey James. I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying how they were treated throughout the years of being with the company. I feel like if you compare the two, Mickey James was always treated much better than Natalia.
Not really. Have you forgotten Piggy James? When they started fat shaming her, which is probably what led to Mickey James leaving the company back in the day. So, I'm
Yeah, that was
the fart gimmick is a lot better than what was nothing more than fat shaming for somebody who wasn't even fat.
What they were trying to do was get heat on LaCool. That's what they were trying to do. But that was still a main event women's feud. That wasn't just something as a sidebar comedy gimmick. Mickey James was still in the main event as a female wrestler, even when all that nasty stuff was going on. I mean, it's been disrespectful segments all the time. I mean, Trish Stratus was forced to strip and get down on her knees and bark like a dog, but she still was put in position as a great women's champion.
After the fact,
it still happened.
No, that's just it. The whole Piggy James thing that put a wrap on Mickey James's career. She left the company after that. She was gone.
Yeah.
So it's not a thing where 5 years before you were our top star, we did some foul stuff to you. No, this is you were the top star, and we went with the whole Piggy James thing. That was wrong. It was wrong, and that's why she left.
I'm not defending this thing. I'm just telling you that booking wise, she was booked a
They
lot
did her
better than
dirty.
Natalia. But yes, that segment was dumb. It was really stupid. It wasn't funny. Little kids may have laughed at it, but I didn't. But hey, I'm just saying what it was.
They did her dirty to try to make people that didn't have her skills look good.
Weren't they both smashing top stars though? Like one is Undertaker's wife and Layla. Wouldn't she smash another one of the stars?
No,
She was. You just
no.
don't know about it.
Thanks for joining us. This edition of VGR Lockdown definitely ran a little bit on the longer end, so we're going to break right here. Just stay tuned. We're going to be releasing part 2 of our discussion of the recent superstar shakeup later in the week. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and I'll catch you guys next time.